Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to show you how I contour my face. Today I've done a little bit more of a glam look. I've done like a halo eye with a bit of gold and a little bit more smirky with individual lashes. Full coverage, long wearing, but it's still very luminous, which I think complements this look perfectly, which is a really nice sophisticated glam, but it's also a little bit more dramatic, more evening. I feel like this is something that I always get asked, so I thought I'd make a tutorial and show you guys how I contour my face step by step and the products that I like to use, my favorite go-to for contouring. There are obviously different products that I use as well. I do this technique on most of my clients, obviously depending on the look that they want. But yeah, so keep on watching. If you guys want to know how I created my eye makeup or my hair, my sleek shiny, oh it is really shiny, my sleek hair, please leave me a comment below and I will make a tutorial on it if you guys want to see it. So I'm going to start on my base and I'm using Iconic Original Illuminator. It's a liquid shimmer that you can mix with your foundation or moisturizer. You can use it as a primer to brighten your complexion and just add a little bit more glow, which I'm using and I'm going to be doing today. And I'm just blending that in with my Zoeva buffer brush, which is really easy to spread out. It's very hydrating as well, gives you such a beautiful glow, and you can wear it on top of your makeup just to highlight the areas that you want, but it's gorgeous. Next, I'm using MAC and NARS foundations. I'm going to be mixing the two, and I'm using MAC's Shooter Fix Fluid in NC25 and NARS Sheer Glow in shade Barcelona. But first, I need to blend in my neck because my neck is white, and you need to make sure that you're always blending your neck. So I'm just applying a little bit of bronzer, making sure that it's all even, and I'm ready to go. So I've mixed equal amounts of both foundations, and I'm applying it all over with my Zoeva buffer brush and just making sure that you're spreading the product evenly throughout your whole face, blending it down to your neck, also your ears, because you don't want to have patchy ears, especially if your foundation's a little bit darker like mine. I always make sure that I blend it all over so I don't have any lines or streaks. And I love mixing two foundations together because I love the finish that these two foundations give me, and it just gives me full coverage but a nice beautiful glow. To highlight and conceal, I'm using Shape Tape in shades Light Sand and Light Medium, and I'm applying a small amount underneath my eyes, a little bit on my Cupid's bow, chin, and very small amount on my forehead. I love Shape Tape because it's a full coverage, long wearing, and it doesn't smudge or crease, which is amazing, and that's why I love it. So I'm going to blend that all in with my beauty blender, and I'm going to start on the inner corners of my eyes and gradually blend that outwards. Just really soft dabbing motion, pressing that product all the way up to the bridge of my nose and contouring my nose along the way, and try not to bring the product too low so that you don't end up with a half a white face, and just be mindful of how far you are blending down. And I like to conceal and shadow separately so that I have a little bit more control, and just going back and making sure that it's all blended even, there's no visible lines, and you have a nice soft finish. To shadow, I'm using Iconic Pigment Stick in 3.1, and I love how creamy this product is. It's really nice, it doesn't smudge and leave streaks, and I'm applying a generous amount on my forehead, and I'm going to contour my cheekbones. Now with my cheekbones, I always like to apply the product a little bit higher than my actual cheekbones, so then when I do blend, I'm not bringing the product too low, and I like a really sculpted look, so it just makes the cheekbones appear to be higher and more defined. I love a chiseled jawline, so I'm just putting a small amount, actually, just enough to look sculpted. And next, I line my whole lips with shadow, and this is a little tip that I like to use just to give me the illusion of full plump lips. Now, I don't really like to sculpt my nose that much, to be honest. I just apply a small amount. I already have a small nose, so I don't want it to be too thin. And I'm going back with my beauty blender and blending that product down on my jawline, just making sure that it's all even. Very soft dabbing motions. Again, you don't want to press too hard because you're actually going to be removing a lot of the product. And with the cheekbones, I like to just kind of press down and upwards, so you're not bringing the product down, as I mentioned before, and just keeping that product in that area. You don't really want to move it around because that's when it looks really dirty and messy. So just take your time with it. Practice makes perfect, so just softly blend it all through. And I'm just going to apply a little bit more because I feel like it needs it, just so it's even. That's better. And the same technique on my forehead, I'm blending that product into my hairline, really soft dabbing motions again, just making sure that there's no streaks, there's no lines. And sometimes I like to just go back with that concealer and blend that through again if I feel like I have brought the product down too low. Now my lips, I'm blending that product into my lips, so I'm not taking it out too far, and then I'm going back with the concealer, just making sure that it is just enough shadow and I don't look dirty. And I like to buff my nose with a brush as opposed to a sponge. I feel like I have more control, and I'm just doing it very lightly. I kind of like to take a lot of product off because I don't want my nose looking too sculpted. I like it just looking more natural. Then just going back with that sponge and just making sure that it's all blended. Now to set my concealer, I'm using RMCA Translucent powder. I personally like it because it's lightweight and it's not drying for me. So I've applied a small amount on my beauty blender, and I'm starting at the bridge of my nose, bringing that down to contour my nose first, and then just softly bringing out that product. I like a sculpted look, so I like to bring it all the way up because that's makes it look more defined. This is optional, you don't need to, but the reason why I put a little bit at a time is because I don't like to apply too much at once, and that's when I personally think it looks too powdery and feels really dry under your eyes. And this is all determined on how dramatic you want your look to be. You can just put a little bit just to set, you don't have to put this much. I also put a little bit of my chin around my mouth just to highlight those areas as well. And I just remove a bit of that excess product so I don't have any defined lines and it looks soft and more natural. To line my lips, I'm using Christian Breton Paris, I think that's what it's called, in the shade Only You. And I'm bringing that a little bit lower than my actual lip line just to look a little bit more full but not too overdone. And I really like this color because it's a really nice neutral tone that goes with a lot of different shade lipstick. I'm using Huda Beauty Liquid Matte lipstick in shades Bombshell and Flirt, and I'm just applying Bombshell all over my lips as so, and I'm going in with Flirt just on the corners because I want to create a little bit more of an ombre look today. And I'm also going to apply that same on the top of the lid, but I'm gonna outline it slightly just to create a little bit more depth. And I'm going back with Bombshell just to even it all out, and I'm blending that in with just my fingertip to make sure that it's all even like so. Now my baking is done, I'm gonna remove that excess powder, and I'm just doing that with a fluffy brush. But I also like to go in with a smaller brush just to remove a little bit more of that excess and it doesn't look powdery. I'm gonna now set my foundation with Benefit Cosmetics Hello Flawless powder, and I personally like to do this because I feel like it just binds everything together and it just gives you a really nice finish and sets it all. So now I'm going to add a bit more warmth with Anastasia Beverly Hills Contouring Kit, and I'm going to first apply it on my cheekbones just to add a little bit more definition, and I'm keeping it quite high again, and a bit on my forehead just to give me that nice sun-kissed look. And Morphe blush palette, the warm blush palette I believe, and I'm using the shade Babe. This is a really nice color. I love this palette because it's really nice and sheen, perfect when you're doing a more bronze look, so it just adds a touch of color but it's not too pigmented and overpowering. So I think this is a perfect amount of color just to add and complement my look. And I'm applying that on the apples of my cheeks and just slightly bringing it out. Anastasia Beverly Hills Glow Kit is one of my faves, and I'm using Moonstone and Summer to apply on my cheekbone with a fan brush, and I'm just gradually going to build that. I don't like to put too much at once because I feel like that's when it looks really cakey, so just apply a little bit at a time. You can see how pigmented it is, so you can build on that. A little bit on the bridge of my nose and Cupid's bow. Basically wherever you want to add more light and whatever area you want to highlight. I'm using Moonstone to highlight and define my brow bone, and this just gives a sharper look, and it also creates a nice contrast with your eyeshadow. So to finish my eye makeup, I'm using the Morphe 350 Natural Glow palette. This is the palette that I used on my eyes as well, and I'm just going to smoke the underneath bit with the same colors. Now I don't know the shades, so I will leave them in the description. And to create a nice smoky under eye look, I'm using a small brush and I'm applying the lighter shade first and gradually building up that depth, continuing with the darker shades just to add that little bit more smoky effect. And I'm gonna take it out to a soft wing to balance the top of my eye, but also to open up my eye a little bit more and make my eyes appear bigger. I'm adding Moonstone to the inner corners of my eyes, and this technique just helps to brighten your eyes and just add more radiance. I also added a bit of mascara on the bottom lashes, which I forgot to tape. I do apologize. And I'm just gonna set everything together with MAC Fix Plus setting spray. I love this because it just binds all my makeup together and just creates a nice finish. And that is it, guys. That is my final look. It's full coverage, a long wearing, contoured, and a nice highlighter glow. I hope you guys like this tutorial. Thank you for watching, and I hope you try these techniques at home. I'll see you in my next video. Thanks.